4th of July picnic planning. I'm not sure what just happened over there. Oh, um, sorry, stuff's falling off the refrigerator at IT guy. This is our last day of picnic prep week, and we are going for the sweet stuff. Um, can you also grab out the thing with the orange lid for me, please? So it's a little chaotic here. Um, it's been chaotic all week, and so I am going to semi-apologize. Ella, hello! Haven't seen you in a while. I've missed you too. So we are making you picked the perfect day to be here. We're doing all kinds of sweets. So this is one of my favorite ones, and it's so simple and so easy. And we are going to just whip up a very quick dessert that you can take to a picnic. One of my favorites, or any gathering, really. So, and IT guy's grabbing me the main ingredient, which happens to be ice cream sandwiches. Okay. So Ella, do you guys have those kind of, like, you can buy an ice cream sandwich in the grocery? Everything's I love finding out what things are different like that. But this is, again, one of my favorite desserts ever. This was, when I found out this recipe, I was like, this is nuts. I can't believe how easy this is. So, and I have shared this with dozens of people who want me to give them the recipe, and I'm like, you don't need a recipe. It's that easy. They're like, I'll forget. I'm like, you won't forget this one. I promise you won't. So, okay, we can put those back in the freezer. I think all I need. So this is how easy it is. We are going to. So Ella, how are you guys doing in the heat over there? Are you in a place where that heat is really bad, or are you out in the country where you at least have a breeze? I know it's terrible over there. So, which is funny because we're not, I know a lot of Americans are like, that's not hot, but then again, we know you guys usually don't have air conditioning, so that makes it not fun. So if I thought about this, I would have undone all of these earlier, but I didn't, so didn't think about it. So we're going to talk about all kinds of sweet things today. And since it's still ridiculously hot, we have our heat indexes are above 100. Our temperatures are not quite there, but our heat indexes are. So, alrighty. These are the hardest ones I've ever had to take the papers off of. This is crazy. So, let's get to it. Anybody? Now, for those of you who are in the U.S., anybody got plans for this weekend that they're looking forward to? I would love to know. We have a family golf outing. I don't golf in it anymore, but my husband does. As I have mentioned before, that one's in the marriage contract. We're here for July 4th every year. We do not travel that weekend. Well, we have traveled, but we cannot be gone on the 4th. We have left after golf on the 4th to go on a vacation. As a matter of fact, the one year I went and dropped Mr. 513 off at the golf course, came home, finished packing up, picked him up, and after we had some time with family, off we went. So Ella, I assume you're out of school by now, if you're still with me and that you're enjoying your summer holidays. I know my granddaughter, who is much younger than you, is enjoying her summer. My daughter-in-law is amazing at keeping them busy and entertained and doing all kinds of things. And my grandson has a birthday in a couple of weeks, so they'll be busy working on that. I'm almost done, guys, and then you'll get to see what it looks like. Again, it doesn't look like anything spectacular, but I'm telling you, when you serve this at a picnic, people go crazy for it. They really do. They're like, this is the best thing ever. And you're like, okay. So we've got our sandwiches in there. I've got to cut up a few more to fill out the bottom there. I'll have this all filled in. If you're hanging out with us, would love for you to say hey. Tell me where you're watching from. That's always fun for me to find out where everybody is. I do have people who join regularly from the U.S. and a few that are outside the U.S. And if you're outside the U.S., I want to know if you're a World Cup fan and who is your team. Because it was a wild week in World Cup, for sure. My son, who is the world... California, awesome. Missouri, love it. My daughter-in-law is from Missouri. She was born and raised there. Well, mostly raised. She moved here when she was 13. Her mom was born and raised there, and her dad. So, but then they moved here when my daughter-in-law was going into the 8th grade. And 2 years later, she was dating my son, and 8 years after that, they got married. They made it. They made it through college and everything else, which is unusual for that age. So, Texas. Ooh, it's hot down there. It's hot everywhere. I feel bad for anybody who has to work outside these days. So anyway, all right. You want the scraps? IT guy gets the scraps. Easy. When I said it was easy, it's that easy. You just plug those in the bottom. All right, so that's step number 1. Now, this is not a gluten-free dessert. You can make it gluten-free. Oh, Deborah, you're one of my neighbors. You're a neighbor down south. I'm in Ohio. So I love it. We're from all over the place. That's so cool. All right, so you could do this with gluten-free. I didn't have any, so that's what we're doing. Besides, the one place I can get gluten-free locally, for like 4 of them, it's $10, which makes this very expensive. These were not expensive, and I'm going to take them to a family party, so that's not a problem. Then, I'm not a big fan normally. I would prefer to make my own, but this works better for this particular thing. Hey, Joan, you made it. Glad to see you. All right, so we're using this stuff. Like I said, normally I wouldn't use it, but for this recipe, it just works. And I have this is my feeling on things. I try to eat healthy as much as I can, but every once in a while, you got to just give yourself the opportunity to eat some junk food. So it's the 80-20 rule, right? If you eat healthy 80% of the time, you can splurge a little bit now and then. And yes, I know I'm overweight, so people would say you probably eat more than 20%. But here's the deal. I wasn't overweight until I had kids. Actually, between my second and third, I gained 0 weight. The day my third child was born, I gained 12 pounds. And that was all medication. I don't feel like my body's ever recovered. So anyway, that's that. Gotta rinse that off real quick. Now, here's the thing. If you want to make an adult version of this, before you put the Cool Whip on, you can brush the top of the ice cream sandwiches with either Kahlua or Bailey's or Amaretto. Generally a sweet liquor is better. So whichever one is your choice, do that. Okay, that can go back in the fridge. IT guy has been wanting to do this all week, to eat the Cool Whip. And I keep saying, no, it's not for public consumption yet. So now that I've made this, he can consume it. So then there's a myriad of ways, right? Any way you would do this. You can do sprinkles. You can do chocolate sprinkles. You can do chocolate syrup. Any of those things. So hi, Robert. Welcome in. So that's it. Believe it or not, that is it. Like I said, if you want to add your sprinkles or whatever, go ahead and do that. My husband's family tends to be kind of purists. So I'm going to do half of these. These are brand new sprinkles, so I'm going to have to open it. So I should have done this before I got on. I forgot that I didn't realize you hadn't opened them. So these were a request from IT guy. So he asked that we get these. So I did. It was already open. So Husky Lover, do you have Huskies? They're amazing dogs. We had one when I was a kid. And my daughter-in-law, her parents have one. Different daughter-in-law than the one I was talking about. But they're hilarious dogs. And are yours vocal? Because most of them I know are. Although my daughter-in-law's family, theirs is not. So I'm gonna, I'll just put them all over. The kids will eat this anyway. They'll destroy this. There's going to be at least a dozen kids there. So you know what? I'm going to do it more like this. There we go. That's better. Okay. So there you go. Less than 10 minutes. Done. Easy dessert. If you ever need something really easy and it's a dessert, like I said, you can just do it like that for family friendly. We have people in recovery, so I am not going to, would not add alcohol to mine. But if, it's got dust in it, hang on. But yeah, if you're going to an adult thing where you know adult beverages are going to be served, then you could always zhuzh it up with the ones I've had that are the best are Bailey's, Kahlua, and Amaretto. I've tried all three of those. So I love it when they're sassy and then they talk like that. That's great. This needs to go probably downstairs in the big freezer. I'm sure your dad would help you with that. So anyway, so that's our big one. And then, before you go, I need the ones I made. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go grab them while he takes care of that. I'm going to go grab some stuff out of the freezer. So the thing is, I can't eat that because there's gluten in it. And since this is gluten-free from the 513, you know we're going to make some that are gluten-free, right? Here you go. So here are the versions that I've made. And I've never made these before, so I'm kind of excited to try these. And we're also going to talk about some other things. And the family's probably going to want to try these as well. So we're going to start with that one. we're going to start with those two because I'm pretty sure these are the two I'm going to like the most anyway. But this, I have gluten-free ginger snaps. By the way, these are really good for like making crusts for instead of using graham cracker. And if you can't find graham crackers that are gluten-free, these work really well. So I did the same thing. I put cookies on the bottom, ice cream in the middle. So I kind of made my own and then put more cookies on the top. And you just got to give them like a few seconds to warm up. And then this one is a gluten-free graham cracker. And then these two, this is a chocolate, this is the, I don't know, vanilla version of gluten-free Oreos. So, ooh, this is harder than I thought it would be. I should have gotten them out a few minutes ago. But, okay, so this is the one with the ginger snaps in it. It's an interesting taste, the ginger with the vanilla. Mm. Oh, Betty, I just realized I couldn't read that until I sat down that you're in Illinois. So, oh, that's funny. Sorry about that. Okay, that one's interesting because it's a little spicy, which is just not what I'm used to. The spice of ginger. Why are you two laughing at me? Having them both here, this is a challenge. All right, so that's that one. This one is the, oh, did it not get soft? That would be a first. Okay, we're going to let that one sit for a sec, I guess. This one should work because it was all crunched up anyway. Something happened to my regular gluten-free Oreos, and there were like 4 of them that were just all smushed up. So, kind of worked out for this particular thing. Okay, you know what? We're going to readjust because they're all frozen solid as a rock. We are going to make gluten-free s'mores because they do exist. Again, this was something when I first had to be gluten-free. You go to somewhere and they've got s'mores and you can't have any. But the only challenge is these particular graham crackers are very delicate. They'll break very easily, so you just got to be really careful. Hershey's chocolate is gluten-free. It's not listed as gluten-free. It is not nut-free typically. They do have facilities for certain things. Hershey bars are made in a dedicated facility, correct? Is that what you told me? Yeah. Yeah, these are a dedicated line. My husband's worked at Hershey before. So now, and then I like Hershey with almonds, but these are whole almonds, so I think I'll skip that. Also, for those of you who are gluten-free that are watching, peanut M&Ms have always been gluten-free. Apparently, now they're not, or they're not going to be soon, so keep an eye on that so you don't get gluten. So one of my lovely assistants is going to, we have a gas stove. Either that or I was going to have to use a torch. I'm sure my family would have thought it was much funnier to watch me with a torch. But they're going to roast me up a marshmallow. So I'm probably they were going to roast themselves some marshmallows, but we only have cinnamon graham crackers that have gluten in them. So anyway, but okay, so this is one kind of dessert you can take that's gluten-free, but here's another one that, like, remember the fruit we cut up yesterday for kebabs? I threw it into a fruit salad. That is something that, like, anybody can eat for the most part. I mean, if you're diabetic, which my husband is, and I'm I'm a borderline type 2, so we all have to watch our sugar. But that's one that generally everybody can have. Um, even made a list so we could talk about them. One of the most popular from some of the groups I'm in is a crumble, just because it's easy to make. You can use just a little bit of gluten-free flour, some certified gluten-free oats, and then whatever kind of fruit happens to be in season. You can pretty much make a crumble with just about anything but citrus. So if you want blackberries or blueberries or peaches or apples, like I said, pretty much any season. I'm going to use the smaller one. I'm going to smush that. Look at that. Look at that. They made such a pretty one. So there you go. So there's your, I'm going to give that a second to melt, because why not? Now, I could have also thrown this in the microwave for a few minutes. Ever had a microwave s'more? They're pretty good, actually. However, marshmallows do crazy things in the microwave. You really want to treat, and this, my kids all did this when they figured it out. Take a peep. You know what peeps are? They're made around here, so we all know what peeps are, and my family loves them. Do you want some of these graham crackers? Okay. But put a peep in the microwave for about 20 seconds and watch it. It's hilarious. Remember yesterday when we were talking about sometimes you just want to eat something and feel normal? That's how this is. Little crumbly, but you still have all those tastes that you love. I love crumbles too, and they're so easy to make. And that's one. I mean, Joan, you could make yourself like a personal size. That would be that way you don't have to have a big one sitting around for days. A crumble's a kind of recipe you could probably cut in half pretty easily. All right, I'm going to eat that one real quick just so it quits falling off. Mm, so good. And then if you wanted to get tropical with it, I believe Mounds bars are also gluten free, so you could kind of play with it. So anyway, but you could also take a cookie tray. Gluten free Oreos are generally the same price as regular Oreos. On sale, they don't get as good as sales, but you could make a cookie tray. This is one of my favorite gluten free cookies. It's actually grain free, Siete brand. Um, if you have a nut allergy, you're not going to want to bring this one along. Another cookie that I actually have but forgot to get out, Chips Ahoy, gluten free. They're really, really good. One I saw that was really interesting that I was like, oh, I could have done that with this, is a fruit pizza, because there are a lot of really good gluten free um, sugar cookies out there. You can even just get a mix, and it would be very quick, and you can make the big, make it on a pizza stone, or in that shape, and then you cover it with a sweet cream cheese and fruit. And honestly, probably nobody's even gonna know that it's gluten free. So, okay, this is the one with the, since I just ate that, with the gluten free graham crackers in it. I probably should have crunched them up, but I was in a hurry. So it was 8 o'clock last night when I put these together. So I was kind of tired. Um, mm, that's good. Oh, I like that. Okay, with this, to make it taste like a s'more, um, I would either put a little marshmallow fluff on the bottom and or drizzle some chocolate on the top before I put the graham crackers on top. I would do that. So that would be really, really good. Also, in the description, I have two links in there to the strawberry pretzel dessert, which I have made before. Um, and I have the link to that video where you can get the recipe for that. And then peanut brittle. People think of peanut brittle for the winter time, which is great, but because it's a hard crack candy, it doesn't melt. So it's kind of a nice one to have around in the summertime too. But I've also found out Walker's, the brand Walker's, has a shortbread that is gluten free. I'm going to go searching for that one. And we'll be trying that because that would be a nice one to have around at the holidays because you can make a lot of things with a shortbread. So gluten free Rice Krispies. You can get a gluten free make a gluten free Rice Krispie treat if you can find not the Kellogg's brand of a crispy rice cereal. Malt meal, which is funny because malt generally has gluten in it, but malto meal is actually gluten free. And the Kroger brand, if you have that, I know Walker's is such a great shortbread. So to be able to get that gluten free would be awesome. This is a definite winner. And the thing is, if you wanted to do a bigger one, you could put the whole thing of Oreos um, in a food processor, and then you can just make it. Have you ever seen those the dirt cakes where they're made with chocolate pudding and then they put crushed up Oreos on top? You can almost do it like that. So IT guy doesn't usually sit across from me, and he's making all kinds of like funny faces. I can tell he's just getting all kinds of like ideas in his head. So then these are my favorite. These are my favorite Oreos too. I like the vanilla Oreos as much as I do the chocolate. Actually, more than I like the chocolate. So this is the one I've been looking the most forward to be honest. But oh, and the reason I brought these up is because trail mix is always a great snack to bring that everybody can eat. You just got to be careful. Obviously, you don't want to put like chocolate chips in there or whatever in the summertime, which is why people often opt for M&Ms. So just make sure that your stuff is gluten free if that's what that's the way you have to eat. And then okay, I'm a child of the 70s and 80s. I graduated from high school in 1981. Yes, I'm old. Um, but it was so funny seeing my nieces and nephews thinking that they developed Jello shots, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, but we did Knox blocks back in the day, and so they don't melt. Now you got to be really careful because you can go too far and then they taste like rubber. But Knox blocks, or you can actually do that, and I haven't tried it, but you can do that with pudding as well as Jello, which would be really interesting. So anyway, yeah, this one's my favorite. I like them all, but um, I would have to say, surprisingly, mm, yeah, I think the Oreos are my favorite. I would add a little something to the other two, and I don't know what they need, but they need something. So I'll have to think on that. If I did it again, what I would do. But I mean, you know how I am. I'm always messing around with recipes and stuff. So um, anyway, like I said, the only other thing I have that, see if I have everything on my list. So we talked about the s'mores, we talked about the crumble, we talked about the fruit pizza, we talked about the Walker shortbread, we talked about the strawberry pretzel dessert, we talked about the different kinds of gluten-free cookies, the Chips Ahoy, the Oreos, the ginger snaps, the wedding cookies. So you can make yourself a nice little assortment that way. We talked about the peanut brittle, the Rice Krispie treats, the trail mix, and the Jello and or pudding. So, and then the fruit salad, which I think is, there's nothing that refreshes you more than this on a really hot day. And just that quickly, we're done, which is kind of the best way to finish up on a holiday week, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go early. I'm gonna say thanks for being here. Hit the subscribe button if you want to make sure you see the content regularly. We're gonna have easy meals next week because it's a post-holiday week, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to do anything complicated on a post-holiday week. So we're going to do really simple meals next week, and they may take a little while, but they'll be easy to make, if that makes sense. So I will see you guys on Monday. For those of you in the US, I wish you a very happy holiday weekend. Happy 4th of July. And for the rest of you, I wish you a lovely weekend. I hope those of you in Europe get a break from the heat. I hope those of us in the US get a break from the heat. And I will see you guys on Monday, same time. Love you all. Remember to eat well, be well, and have a great weekend. See ya. Love ya. Bye.